Welcome back, Marvel fans, to another emotional journey through the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Get ready to grab those tissues because today, we're counting down the top 10 saddest moments in the MCU. From heart-wrenching sacrifices to devastating losses, these scenes have left us reaching for the nearest comfort. So let's dive in and relive some of the most tear-jerking moments in MCU history. Number 10. Meredith Quills' final moments.
And he was an angel.
The heaviest moment in the team's history, however, occurs at the very beginning. Guardians of the Galaxy opens with a flashback sequence that transports the audience back to Earth in 1988. We see a very young Peter Quill in a hospital, witnessing his mother, Meredith, in her final moments. As the drama progresses, Peter is sent to meet his mother on her deathbed, and we learn that his father is nowhere to be found. Meredith wants Peter to hold her hand as she dies, but the frightened youngster refuses, and his mother dies seconds later. As expected, Peter panics and runs outside, only to be captured by aliens. The scene is somber, heartbreaking, and completely deviates from the quick-fire comedy that follows. Number 9. Gamoras Death.
I'm sorry, little one.
In Avengers: Infinity War, things get really intense as Thanos gets closer to his big plan. But it's not just the big snap moment that's sad. There are a lot of sad parts throughout the movie. Right from the start, we see Loki and Heimdall meet their end. Then, in Wakanda, Thanos does some really awful stuff to Wanda and Vision. But the saddest moment by far is when Gamora dies. She's fighting against her bad guy dad, Thanos, with everything she's got. But in the end, Thanos sacrifices her to get the Soul Stone. It's a super heartbreaking scene. You can feel the desperation, the fear, and the pain. It's just too much. And later, when Thanos talks about it, you can tell it cost him everything. It's one of the saddest moments in the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe. Number 8. Thor and Rocket's counseling session. There is no doubt that Thor has been tormented throughout the Infinity Saga. At various moments, the God of Thunder loses his family, friends, home, the majority of his people, his hammer, his health, and even his eye. While he heals some of these losses, it doesn't remove the fact that Thor has gone through a lot, and there's one scene that highlights his pain more than any other. In Infinity War, Thor, Rocket, and Groot travel to Nidavellir to craft Odin's son a new weapon. En route, the pair had a brief talk in which Rocket attempts to awkwardly cheer up his depressed partner. In the subsequent chat, Thor says that rage and vengeance, anger, loss, regret, they're all tremendous motivators. When Rocket inquires about what happens if he is incorrect, Thor's sorrowful response is simply, "If I'm wrong, then what more could I lose?" The scene is heartbreaking, with tears running from the toughest nails Asgardian's eyes. Number 7. Killmonger's final moments.
With my ancestors that jumped from the ships.
Killmonger is one of the most beloved villains in the MCU, and for good reason. The antagonist, played excellently by Michael B. Jordan, has a poignant past that sets him up for one of the best last moments in MCU history. A moment so moving that it enters the list of the saddest moments of all time. After an epic duel in which T'Challa and his cousin brawl deep into the heart of Wakanda's vibranium mines, the son of T'Chaka eventually wins, stabbing Killmonger in the chest. T'Challa invites Killmonger to observe the grandeur of the sun, setting over Wakanda as a tribute to his slain opponent. He then advises his relative that they will most likely be able to save him from death's chilly grip. Killmonger, unconcerned, determines that he would rather bleed out than face incarceration. Is this his only request? Bury me in the ocean with my ancestors who jumped from the ships because they knew death was better than bondage. The chilling scene, loaded with deeper meaning, is enough to move anyone to tears. Number 6. Hulk leaving Earth. Hulk is commonly connected with smashing and destroying. Everyone wants to see the huge green guy face any enemy, and even an odd ally, and see if anything can stop him in his tracks. Occasionally, we see Hulk when he is not smashing, and it turns out that the character truly has other very deep feelings besides rage and anger. In Ragnarok, we see the Hulk growing up a bit, talking more like a regular person as he chats with Thor about their next moves. At the end of Avengers, Age of Ultron, Hulk feels so alone and lost that he decides to fly away in a Quinjet all by himself. He even gets a message from Nat, but he can't bring himself to watch it. Instead, he curls up in a sad, lonely ball and drifts off into space. It's a really heartbreaking moment, leaving Natasha and all of us feeling down, even though the movie ended on a happier note. Number 5. Tony and Steve, please stop fighting. Many of the saddest moments in the MCU involve conflicts between heroes and villains. However, one of the most heart-wrenching scenes involves two beloved heroes fighting each other. In the climax of Captain America: Civil War, Tony Stark, Steve Rogers, and Bucky Barnes, manipulated by Zemo, find themselves in a brutal confrontation. The bitter clash between two of the MCU's most revered heroes only plunges everyone into despair. This heartbreaking scene marks the beginning of one of the darkest periods in MCU history. Number 4. Shuri burns her funeral garments. The opening scene of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever hits us with the sudden impact of loss, while the closing scene and end credits capture the complex blend of remembering the departed and moving forward. Shuri, finally ready to let go of her mourning, observes the traditional burning of her funeral garments. As the garments burn, the film gracefully transitions to flashbacks from the first movie, honoring Chadwick Boseman's legacy in the most respectful manner possible. The burning scene continues into the credits, accompanied by Rihanna's moving song, Lift Me Up, giving the audience time to reflect. Number 3. Moon Knight's tragic origin story. Another example of a Marvel Disney Plus show showcasing its emotional side in the penultimate episode. In Moon Knight Episode 5, Asylum, Mark Spector explains why he invented Stephen Grant's unique identity. Anyone familiar with dissociative identity disorder could tell that it would not be a nice narrative, and the backstory was exactly as painful as you would expect. Mark's younger brother, Randy, drowned to death. His mother, Wendy, blamed him for his brother's death and physically beat him while drowning her sorrows in booze. Number 2. Peter Parker's friends forget who he is.
You should get out of the car!
SpiderMan: No Way Home is one of the most melancholy endings in the MCU, fitting its themes of sacrifice and struggle. With Doctor Strange's assistance, Peter is able to repair the harm done to the fabric of the multiverse, albeit at tremendous personal sacrifice. He learns that the only way to restore the curse that damaged everything is to erase everyone's memory of him. Before the new spell takes effect, Peter swears to find and reunite with Ned and MG in the future. He prepares to reintroduce himself to MG at the coffee shop where she works, but he isn't ready to tell her everything. The fact that MG and Ned got into MIT is enough to make him feel as if his sacrifice benefited his old pals, even if they are unaware of it. The film closes with Peter moving into a rundown apartment and creating his own suit to combat crime, which is less glamorous than interning with Tony Stark and working with the Avengers. However, heroism is not always glamorous. Number 1. Iron Man's sacrifice is tragic. Throughout the Avengers movie, Tony Stark and Steve Rogers debate whether it is better to sacrifice oneself to save others or to seek an alternative course of action. In the Avengers, Rogers informs Stark, "You're not the guy to make the sacrifice play. Lay down on a wire and let the other guy crawl over you." And Stark quickly responds, "I think I would just cut the wire." While the couple reconcile and eventually lead the team together, the comment lingers out there, haunting the Iron Man character. Sure, Stark has demonstrated his willingness to sacrifice on numerous occasions, but it isn't until Endgame that he truly has something he refuses to give up under any circumstances: his family. Over the course of the film, we see him gradually let go, until in the hour of need, he finally makes the long-awaited sacrifice move, donning the Infinity Gauntlet and annihilating Thanos' armies. His next death scene has all the feelings as Stark gradually lets go of life, drifting away to finally find some well-deserved rest. And there you have it, folks, the top 10 saddest moments in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Whether it's saying goodbye to beloved characters or witnessing their heartbreaking struggles, These scenes have reminded us that even superheroes are not immune to pain and loss. Which moment hit you the hardest? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more emotional journeys through the MCU. Until next time, stay strong, Marvel fans.